5 and 9, 59. 90, 90.
Please strengthen me and help me to know the peace that only you can give.
Heaton in Newcastle has been home to a busy bingo hall and a popular Pentecostal church for half a century. But times change, and while one of these neighbours was growing too large for its home, the other was struggling due to falling attendances. So, earlier this year, the church and the bingo hall came up with a novel solution to their problem. They swapped homes. It was the bingo hall that needed to downsize, and this cosy church was just right.
Is yellow 22, yellow 32, blue 58.
Inside, it's been transformed beyond recognition. A couple of beams and arches are the only clues that give the game away. So, Carl, really where we're standing now is pretty much where the pulpit would have been when it was a church, and now this is where you call the bingo numbers from?
Yeah, this is focal to where you can see everything. So it would have been the same for the church. This is why we kept the calling unit here, right in the main point of the building.
Just a different kind of sermon now.
Very different sermon.
Meanwhile, just 100 metres up the road, the huge former bingo hall is an unlikely setting for Sunday worship. But Pastor Simon Lawton's vision is to grow his church and transform this vast building into a Christian centre.
When we get on board with God's long-range plan for us, we come alive. We can enjoy this.
So tell me, Simon, how did the deal actually come about?
Well, we've been looking at this premises for a couple of years, and then about a year ago we decided finally to go for it, and we contacted the owner. And then one day he said, why didn't we just do a swap and pay the difference? And I nearly bit his hand off. I just thought, what an amazing deal. Thank you, God.
You thought bingo?
Bingo, yeah, bingo. Well, we're having our services on the first floor in the former ballroom, which has its glitter ball and its disco lights and mirrors on the ceiling.
But it won't stay like this. A big refit is underway, and the extra space will be used for an array of new ministries.
I wish, I had several £1 million to convert it all in a week, but we're really excited about what we can do here with a new coffee shop, a new 600-seater auditorium, and being able to convert all 4 floors into a centre which is going to be an immense blessing and benefit to this community.
Once I was dead to you, and I could not hear. I was blind to the truth, and was nowhere near. But then you gave me life, and you gripped my soul with a love so pure, and you won't let go. What a Savior, my Redeemer. You have freed me, helped me understand. Through your suffering, I'm forgiven. Pressing onward to the promised land. Sent from his Father above, Jesus walked this earth, knew his destiny as he read the word. Not shrinking back from the task, he pursued his goal. Came to ransom lives and to make them whole.
Coming up, a lovely performance from the Radio 2 Choristers of the Year. But first, this Tuesday marks the 70th anniversary of the end of the Holocaust. Next, we hear the stories of some remarkable men and women.
I'm alive today because of the Christians who saved my father as a Jew during the Holocaust. My grandfather was a very devout Orthodox Jew, but interestingly, he befriended Witold Trzeciakowski, a Christian who, when the Nazis came into Poland, my grandfather entrusted all of the family's few valuables that they had to this gentleman. My grandparents, my father Max and his brother, were put on a train going to the death camp of Treblinka, and my grandfather insisted that the two boys jump off that train. Sadly, my uncle did not survive, but my father miraculously did. He was then captured, and he wrote to Witold Trzeciakowski, and the money he sent allowed my father to bribe the police officer to ensure that rather than being sent to another death camp, he would be sent to a work camp.
In the camp, Max was befriended by another Christian man, Joseph Wędrzynowski, and somehow they both managed to escape.
Knowing that the Nazis were combing the area, my father was buried in a grave with a hole for air, and once a week, Joseph Wędrzynowski would bring him a bottle of water and some potatoes.
Despite the harsh winter weather, Max managed to survive in the ground for 9 whole weeks until the war ended. Gina Turgel also lived through the Holocaust. Incredibly, she walked out of Auschwitz's notorious gas chambers alive.
We walked in, stone floors, openings in the ceiling, and all of a sudden doors opened on my left. Walked in a woman who worked as a clerk in a previous camp, and I knew her. And she stretched her arm, she said, "You here?" And she rushed out. All of a sudden, the water came down, and we drank, and we were so dry, thirsty. And then the water stopped. We walked out of there. The women who worked there embraced us and screamed, "You are alive. We thought we never see you again." I said, "What are you talking about?" And they said, "Don't you know where you've been?" They said, "You were in a gas chamber." When I heard that, I felt that God must have saved my life and so many others who were with me.
Gina was moved from Auschwitz to the concentration camp at Belsen. Then, in April 1945, Norman Turgel, a sergeant in the British Army, was one of the first to enter Belsen after liberation, and he and Gina were later married.
A friend of Norman's brought in a British parachute and took me to the dressmaker. My dress was made out of a British parachute. And we were always together. And we would have celebrated our golden wedding, but unfortunately, my husband died 2 months before.